guys had on set.
Me. Although, yeah, Gareth was doing some crazy dry humor. We had a relatively fun cast on Operation Overdrive. You know, because every season, it was weird because I got 3 different seasons, and the cast, it's like a different room. It's like I've done conferences, and you get a different audience. So when you do a different season, it's a different vibe, and you get different energy from all the different people. And I was lucky enough, Operation Overdrive was so everyone was kind of cranking, and to be honest, it's a good way to get through the day.
That is true.
You know, when you're kind of burnt out on season for that.
Awesome. I love it.
I think Philip Jean-Marie on our season, The Blue Ranger, was our big prank.
Sort of 20 minutes between some setup, and I got so good at just sitting in a chair and just going like this and falling asleep. And these micro sleeps for like 2 minutes, and then you hear them go, blam! And you go, yeah, let's go, like, and you're up in action. And I would always, you know, they'd call me, blam! But all this stuff would fall off me, right? While I'm asleep, Paul would come and like put a cup on my head and then get like as much stuff like built up on me that he could. Like a foam, piece of foam and stuff. Things that when I'm waking up, bloody poor, and all this stuff would just rain down. So yeah, they were fun.
SPD was Blue Ranger, Chris Bailey.
Oh God.
I always teased him because he was the prettiest one. So I always said to him, like, hey Princess, are you putting the makeup on today? Because we're all going to get makeup, and he'll be like, oh that's right, you're just wearing that dog face, so just get it. And I'll be like, I want to spank you, but I can't move in the suit. So he'll be outside looking, and I'll just see people in this little, between the teeth, and he goes, oh, the air is fresh out here, Tony. I'm going to go grab a pear. Would you like anything? Well, that's right. I can't shove it through that big mouth. And I've got these gloves on, so I can barely give him the bird. So I'm sitting there. I'm going to get your ass. Somebody get me. Yeah, so it was Chris.
He was a funny guy. Chris was very funny.
Yes, our humor was, he's from Canada, and I'm from the hood, and my name is... No, he's from, what, Vancouver? Toronto?
Yeah, like right up there.
Yeah, and so our humor was kind of close, but I introduced him to some of my friends, and they wanted to beat him up. Because he's outspoken, and I'm like, dude, it's like that friend where you're trying to explain to your other friends, hey, that's just the way he is, you know? You need to get that, you know? But you just, some friends you can't get together. I got him, and he's my brother, but he was a prankster, man. He'd annoy me, but I loved being annoyed by him. Because like, what the bro was saying, when you're doing these long shoots, you just, to break the monotony, to break the process and to just shake it up a bit, because at the end of the day, it's fun and games. This fantasy world that we all live in should be fun, I love wanting to strangle every day. That was awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you, bro.
True brotherhood.
Aljin?
It was probably for me, it was our crew. I mean, I think by the time we shot Jungle Fury, the crew had been, it was a very well-oiled machine, and they've been shooting in New Zealand for quite a few years. And I'd like to get in on what they were doing to each other, really, because there's so much to do. They're so hardworking, but they were probably the a good fun bunch for me personally.
Did you have Bring, the lighting guy?
Yeah, we had all
Bring
those,
was funny, man.
all those guys, like,
I feel sad already.
I'm Glenn, by the way.
Moving on.
Okay, I have 2 quick questions. One I always ask, like, what was your most favorite episode to film? And the second one, my second question is, with Wild Horse being the last Disney one, and Ninja Storm being the first Disney, was there ever any talk of maybe having a team-up episode that just never happened, or I just wondering about that too?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
We were talking about that just then, yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about, the difference in when we met, we just met up here 15 minutes ago, that I felt a little disappointed that we weren't able to do the team
Not
up.
disappointed when we met. Like,
No! I was disappointed that we didn't meet 15, 17, 18 years ago. So that was disappointing. The Wild Force cast, we weren't able to go over to New Zealand and do a team up.
That would've been
For-
a cool team
That would have been so awesome.
For sure. So I think Jack, the Black Ranger, when we're at, when he's been at a convention, you know, that's where we feel like Wild Force, we missed out on a few of those really memorable moments that the team ups and different things that some of the different seasons were able to do, for sure.
would have been cool. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I don't
that would-
remember the other half of the question.
The other question was, what was like your favorite episode to film?
Oh, yes.
The first two episodes for Jungle Fury was a two-parter, and it contained obviously the core cast of the three Rangers, red, blue, and yellow. That was probably just because it set up so much, and we had a lot of time in pre-production to develop those characters and work on the individual personalities. And to be honest with you, it was really amazing because obviously I also grew up on this show. You know, when I was like 12 or 11, I was running around the playground pretending to be Walter Jones. So, you know, there's a line in there that Theo says, "I've always wanted to be a Power Ranger." That's very personal to me. It's something that's like, oh wow, so it was a lot of fun. That's probably, as far as memories, they really stick in there.
Have a favorite
episode? Probably, there was an episode where I had to tell a big long monologue about how Taizon became Taizon, like he was a hero and he'd lost all of his fellow comrades in a disaster. And I just remember the feeling like Power Rangers, the energy, we all know that energy, it's like up here, you know, it's like go Ranger, it's like super energy. And it was like, I was challenged because I had to tell a sad story, like this real story. And I come from a dramatic background, I've done a lot of like dark movies, like serious stuff, like The Joker, you know, like those really intense roles. And I was like, how do I find that spot? And I just remember that episode was intense because I was like, how do I deliver to you guys a real story with some truth and heart and soul, but in the world of Power Rangers? And I just remember working on that really hard, because it was like a big long 2-minute monologue, and I had to like do it in one take down the lens, you know, and it took me a while to balance it out and find a really good spot. And I watched it back and it worked. But the other one was Once a Ranger. Everyone probably knows that. And I think that's when the stone sunk in. Because I was like, I see these guys do a flashback episode and all these other Rangers from, you know, the OG Rangers. And you're like, damn, I'm part of something kind of big. Because you put the spandex on, you're like, okay, I'm a Power Ranger. And then you see all these like reunion episode Rangers and you get to know them and you're like, wow, I'm part of this whole universe. And that wasn't just a normal week of filming. That was something going on, part of like a legacy that's probably won't be able to shake. That'll be, forever I'll be a part of this thing. So that was cool. Once a Ranger.
Always Ranger.
Always a Ranger.
So,
Yeah.
you just actually inspired me. For my character, Doggy Kruger, it was the episode where he starts to talk about his wife and Cinia. And I had just been married, had my first child, and delivering the dialogue to the cadets about Doggy Kruger's history, I was crying because I was so connected to it. And I remember being the artist going, man, should have caught this performance. this was the Oscar. No one's gonna see it. And my eyelids are flick, and like he's like doing the eyelids, and I'm sitting there, and it was just that schizophrenic point you're in where you're just like, you're telling the story. You're right, you're part of this huge universe.
Yeah.
And sometimes the writing surprises me, man. Like I read the scripts and I go, this is massive. Like the themes are epic, family, loyalty, love, deception, and it's Shakespearean sometimes. And I just remember being committed to this performance because the dialogue was so awesome. I reconnected it to my wife and my child, and I was just in there, and it will never be seen. and yeah, it was awesome.
But it was felt.
It was felt.
was
I felt it, so yeah. But outside of myself, I was like, all the acting I've done, that was.
Did you guys feel it?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, but that was my story.
And again, kids show.
Kids-
Kids show does this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was one time I did a performance as Daguerreon, and I remember the director pulling me aside, and I had to explain why I'm there to help these Rangers, because that was my second, and I'm sorry for jumping out of this SPD stuff, but I remember the director at the time, I can't remember his name now, sorry. But he said to me, dude, pull it back, it's too heavy. And I was just like, and the same thing that Bro was saying, just like making it light, but still keeping the weight of it there, and I'm like, okay. Run it again. Like, you know, and just trying to do what the director wants. But as an actor, you're milking everything. You're pouring your soul. I'm not speaking for my colleagues up here, but I know I empty the tank in every performance I do for Rangers. I wanted to die knowing that I did something right. So.
I think that's something, I don't want to jump, but that's something I think is overlooked too. Like, the actors, like, sometimes it's a fun show. Like, you come home from school or you're having your cereal and you're like, damn, this is cool, this is fun. But we spend a lot of our energy, like, we put our real selves in there. And I think that's sometimes overlooked, I think. That we do put a lot in, like, heart and soul. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sorry, we're digressing a little bit, but I remember somebody once saying to me, I was wanting to try something acting-wise, you know, just acting technique-wise. And a cool thing that I can't remember who said to me, they're like, but the greatest thing is that we're on Power Rangers, and so you can get away with it up, right?
Yeah.
Like you can try something, and if it goes terribly wrong, you've got a super forgiving audience
Yes.
who aren't going to
Yeah.
crucify you over making
Totally.
terrible technical
Yeah.
mistakes. So
Yeah.
you know, as an actor, it was great breeding ground for my chops
Yeah.
to get things wrong and get things right.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be winning an Oscar.
Yeah.
So we don't have that level of stress.
Well, he was inside that suit.
He could have.
To be fair, it's TV, it would have had to been an Emmy.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can dream.
Yeah. No, I saw the playback, and when they were doing the eyes fluttering, I was just like, I was like, in there was a soul, though, you know? So, yeah, that's getting deep, but yeah.
Jimmy?
Thank you, Stephen. It was great, by the way.
Thank you.
Aljin, as you know, in Jungle Fury, every character had like their own spirit animal. So, including you and the rest of you guys, what do you think your actual spirit animal would be?
Ooh, interesting.
And you can't say Jaguar.
That's a really good question. I think I'm terrified of water. I never learned how to swim. So, yeah. Which is weird coming from Australia where there's plenty of beaches and, you know, beach culture. But I really like the water. It's very calming. I try to incorporate that into Theo, you know, as far as his meditative states that he gets into that sort of helps calm him and sort of helps focus in. So it'd be a sea creature. It'd be like I don't want to say a dolphin or anything because I don't know too much about dolphins, but it'd be some sort of, you know, sea creature. If I find it in the next, you know, 3 minutes while everyone else answers the question, I'll get back to you. But yeah, yeah, either that or maybe you know. That being said, I also like have a terrible fear of heights. So
Yeah.
something flying in the sky is also appealing to me. But yeah, maybe that's some sort of deep psychological thing. Just my greatest fear meeting my, you know, greatest strength. So.
So an albatross.
I think my spirit animal would be an elephant, actually. I don't know why, there's something about elephants. I remember years ago, I had a shoot in Africa, and so we took a day off and went on a safari. And I remember all day long how awesome it was seeing all these different animals. But it was that one thing, this day would not be complete until I saw the elephants running in the wild. And so as we were heading back, you know, and the sun was setting and we'd had a beautiful day, one of the people in the Jeep yelled out to look to the right, and we just saw a herd of elephants walking, you know, the sun setting in the background. And ever since then, I think it's just the calmness, to me, the beauty, the strength, and the love that they have as a family. Okay, I am getting teary-eyed. But yeah, so that would be my spirit animal, the elephant, for sure.
I don't know if anyone's read, there's a book called Tools of Titans, Tim Ferriss, anyway. In that, like, he interviews all sorts of interesting people, yeah. So at the start of every interview, he asks that exact question, who's your spirit animal? And I was reading through it, and I was like, oh, damn, what would my spirit animal be? And I thought about it a lot. And anyway, I came up with, because I was watching a documentary, sea otter. Just because I think they're the coolest. They're just so like they build their stuff and they lie on their back and they go like this. And then when they've got a baby one and they just chill there like this. It's so good. They scratch themselves. I just think they're brilliant. So there you go, see otter.
That's a perfect weekend right there, just chilling.
Oh, how good would it be?
After work, yeah.
Just nibbling on stuff. You know how they get rocks? They get little pebbles and they throw them around like this, and they're really good at juggling. I'm not good at juggling, but yeah. There you go.
Can't be a dog.
I know.
I'm not gonna say that.
But it's the obvious. In terms of elements, I remember watching Taika's Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Hulk and Thor sitting there, and Hulk says, in terms of elements, I'm raging fire, Thor smoldering fire. I'm both. In terms of elements, in terms of the animals, dog, man, is the most loyal companion. They will die. And in terms of whether it's a Chihuahua or a pit bull, you choose what kind of dog. But I think dogs are just the most loyal. I used to have a pit bull called Macbeth. Yeah, man, he was a brindle pit bull, and he was the friendliest pit bull because I raised him to be friendly. You know, but yeah, loyalty.
That's my boss. I like that.
Dog. Dog. Yeah, man.
I always believe first thought, best thought. So I was like, first thought's dragon. Which I was like, oh shit, do I say that? Sorry, I'm not going to swear. Sorry if I said that. S-bomb. Okay.
There's no children.
Disney.
Just,
Okay.
We're children.
We're all children, right?
Yeah, so, but my friends call me a dragon. Everyone who kind of really knows me, like dragon. And I'm an artist, so I'm one of those dudes that sits in his cave and paints paintings and writes and just, but the dragon's interesting because there's two sides. You got Eastern mythology and Western mythology, so the West is like, slay the dragon, like we've got a dragon inside us, the dragon's kind of bad. But in the East, he's sacred and wise and mystical. So I like that kind of yin-yang of that, and that we're all a bit of both, and I'm definitely a dragon.
And John, I really like what you said about like the pit bulls. Because like my parents always kind of had like a bad perspective of pit bulls because how many people like treating them so badly, especially from where I'm from. Like a lot of people, I just keep seeing pit bulls out on the streets by themselves. And like it's always, it's never the dog. It's always the person that raised them.
the dog reflects your personality.
Yeah.
So if you want to throw it up on a tire and make it shake and then hold the chain around its neck and you treat it like that, you don't want it to be that way. If you love it, it holds that love, it reflects it.
It's a great name.
My question is for John. SPD or Mystic Force, and if you could only relive one, which one would you pick and why?
I've got twin boys. They're 10 years old. It's the same thing asking me which son do I love the most. Can't choose.
You know how to answer anything like that. It's a very big question. I had a hand up in the back, and then we got, we'll go to this gentleman, then Kevin, then back over here to you, and then to you. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey guys, I just wanted to know how, in preparation for your roles, did any of you get to meet your Japanese counterparts?
I do not, unfortunately.
No, not here.
My stunt man.
Yeah.
The guy who does the real work, but not my Japanese counterpart. I was hoping that was in the budget to fly me over there.
Right.
But no, just my stunt guy. And I respected some of the Japanese stuntmen that we worked with, the hardest working stunt people I've ever met in my life, and I've worked with a lot of stunt people. Yeah, none of us.
The stunt guys on Rangers, I mean, seriously, like I've worked on the Xena shows and Legend of the Sea, all these different shows that come to New Zealand, but the Power Rangers stunties, like, they're like a military level.
Wow.
I've seen them do flips. I saw this dude like spin flip, land on his face, break his eye socket, and just, and was like, and like, didn't even cry, just backed out, went to the camp, and I was like, dude, his smashed face, and he was just so calm. And I was just like, these guys are like next level ninja assassins.
Yeah, Alice, Matoko broke her, she was Sally's stunt double. Makoto's wife. Yeah. She broke her foot. Like she broke her foot. She's doing some flip. Bang! And it's like they apologize for breaking their own. They're like, I'm sorry. I'm like, whoa, no, are you okay? Forgiveness, please.
And we can't really take, because everyone always says like, did you wear the spandex? You know, and did you wear the helmet? And in your guys' mind, yeah, we did, and we might have popped it on a couple of times, stuff like that. But you really, these guys deserve the credit, because the crazy level of stuff you guys see is a real huge. It's a lot to them, even though it's our character. But if you were on set and you saw what happened, they are like wizards. The way they operate, they're incredible.
There is an honor in that, in the Japanese culture, that shows through the stuntmen that make me respect the culture.
Yeah.
They're a non-complaining culture. And their humbleness and humility is infectious.
Yeah.
And you got to remember the Power Rangers, the 2 seasons that I was on, the diversity of the cast and where we're from Australia, Canada, America. And we're in this cauldron to tell this story. For me, as soon as I'm off, I get gas morphing. Hey, good on you, mate. You do all the hard work, there you go. And no complaints, hot weather, spandex, backflips, and I'm sitting on the chair with him. But and when fans ask me, do I do a lot of my fight scenes? I did the fight scenes when I'm seen. In terms of the fight scenes, that's the true samurai spirit.
Wow. No, I don't know, in all honesty. I don't know if anyone here can help, but I actually haven't met a Power Ranger actor who has met their Japanese version. I mean, have you guys known? No. It's not a common thing.
Brandon J. McMillan said his counterpart at Japan World Heroes.
Right. The producers never really get you on set together.
Yoshi did too, I think.
It's not a thing.
And Yoshi did as well.
Yeah, Yoshi.
He actually had an episode and the Japanese, besides they one too, I believe. Yoshi.
I'm humbly jealous.
Hello. I'm excited to meet some of you because I haven't met any of you guys yet. My question is, what is the most memorable memory you have from working on your season?
It's only been 17 years. There's this, the first time he became Typhon, I just remember that. That was like where I was like, they do the big dolly close up and the wind machines in your hair, and you're doing your morph and I'm a Power Ranger, and you're just like, oh damn. Yeah, it's like, I didn't sleep well at night.
Yeah, I agree. My first morph, I knew I was part of something. Because I teased it when I was a kid watching it. I'm like, man, one day I'm and then when I became an actor, and then when we shot it and I did the 360 on the stage, and then I saw it, I nearly cried. I was like, damn, I'm a Power Ranger. Forever.
For me, it'd always be when Michelle handed you that award.
Sorry?
When Michelle handed you your award.
Yep. It was, and it's funny because when we read the script, we have the table reads first, right? And then it's funny because you go through and you're like, no, I'm interested in everything. Here's my line. That's me. I'm not in the scene, so I'm just listening. That scene was spiritual. It's like spiritual because it's like you're being past the guard. And for my character, it's like, I'm going to morph. And in my show reel, it's my morph sequence. And every time I show everybody, and I've been like with Liam Neeson, with like all these other characters, with Rihanna, I showed her my show reel. Like, and I'm like, who do you know who's got a morph sequence in their show reel? Like, mic drop. It's, you know, I love Umbrella, but you know, I got them off. I'm proud of it. It was passing of the guard. I knew I became, you're part of a world that's still going. My children and my great-grandchildren will be like, our great-grandfather was a Power Ranger.
I think for me the scene that, just very quickly, was our very last morph sequence. It was the last thing that we shot, to wrap the season. And, we'd done this thing 100 times, so we knew the whole thing. So it was like, ninjas doing Ranger form. And then in one take, and they called, and that's a wrap. And when they said those words, and that's a wrap, man, I just started crying. I was like, I broke out in tears.
Unemployment sucks.
Yeah. Kind of, it's like, shit, like, after this whole epic,
2 years
like,
later,
this intense, 9-10 months on this thing of working with these people every day, and you love what you do, and then just like that, boom, it's a wrap, and it all just came out. So that really sucks.
Because when I shot the 2 seasons, so I met the Rangers before the Rangers that were coming in, and that was the same reaction the past 3 seasons. Just everyone just stops, and then we all break down in tears. Because we know,
it's finished. Yeah.
And like when I hear people complaining on set, I'm not saying anymore, when they complain on set, now the hindsight me says, be in the moment, because it ends. But be in the moment, because we're captured on digital forever. Be in it. Don't complain about catering or how hard it is, or my trailer, or I'm sharing it, or nah, man. Because like in hindsight, I'm just like, I miss crafts tables. I was watching your weight, and then they get like, here's chocolates, here's, I'm like, really, dude, you want me to put in the spandex? Just rub it on your lip. And I'm sitting there like, man, I can't eat this. Yeah, hindsight, 20 kilos plus now. Don't give me a spandex.
Hi. I noticed that it was very interesting when you guys were talking about the collaboration with your suit actors and your Japanese suit actors and their work ethic and incredible things about them. I figure that with a lot of times when it comes to developing your character, especially in relation to your Japanese counterpart, you work very closely with your stunt actors to make sure that the physicality of your character is distinct from perhaps the Japanese counterpart, or how to make it your own. And so I was kind of wondering, in terms of that, how do you feel that the relationship of you and your suit actor was able to transition on screen, in terms of your physicality? Do you feel like it matched your movements, your expressions, unique feel that was notable?
Wearing my suit, I took Hirokazu was my stunt Power Ranger. So I said to him, I wanted him to have a dog mannerism, because the way Kruger was, in the limits of my suit, I had to pivot, like theater swerve, right? So when someone talks to you, you swerve and you receive it. So I had to play that way. I had a cape. So I said to Hirokazu, when you morph, and then before you fight, I want you to have that swerve. So the connection it's not just another Power Ranger morphing and he fights and looks a certain way. I wanted dog aspects in the way that he, just so we kept the animal trait through. But that was my experience with that. But it was, they had a formula, and it was usually the same. But with my one, it was.
John, that's enough, mate. That's enough talking.
There's the ride. He knows how to show his spot.
They've had enough.
4 o'clock last night. I'm going to get you out of this. I was just talking about how I love to strangle my brothers. That's the guy.
Oh my gosh. I think on that note, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately we're short on time with these guys, but I know a couple of you had other questions, so if you see them at their table, I'm sure they would like to answer them.
Oh yeah, let's go.
There we go. Everybody can morph whatever they want to. If you guys feel like getting up to do you think you have to be all There we go, guys.
Our morphs are different.
Yeah, everybody's going to have to morph a little different.
John can do both as much.
There we go.
Someone buy that man a drink.
Yeah. Well done, Ken.
The simple was ready. FBI. the emergency. All right, he got it. Come on.
That's gonna go on your morphing reel next time. So.
Wow.
You gotta go.
I've got to go.
Take care, my friend.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dwayne Cameron, Lily McMillan, Anne Marie Crouch, and Aljin Abella. Give it up for all of them one more time, guys. Keep on working. Let's do it. You give them people what they want. Give them some space.
Power Rangers are real.
Ninja Storm, Ranger 4, cut!
That's great. And you know the princess I didn't morph, so. I'll just give you a little princess. All right. That's my work.
What do you say?
Yes. Ready! Jungle Beast, Spirit Unleashed!
See, that's some real choreography right there, guys. Give it up for them one more time.
There we go.
Wonderful people. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thanks for that. Dude, I hadn't. No, we'll talk later. I'll tell you guys.